Hey, welcome to StaxInvesting. My name is Caleb, and I want to welcome you to the community. It's an honor to trade alongside you guys. Stoked to have you here, and welcome. So, hey, I just want to jump into the dashboard, the trades, the history, the settings, all of that stuff that is available to you now, and then you can jump into it. So, let's go through this. So, this is your dashboard. It's going to show you all the different all the different stats for your trades since you have been connected to automation. You'll see daily what your P&L is, weekly, monthly, and it'll go through the most recent trades. So this is very helpful. So you can scroll through months. It'll tell you what your current risk reward is, your best trades, your worst trades, stuff like that. Don't worry about this P&L on this account that much. This is a test account that we use to test new features and updates before we push them out to the community. So, okay, let's go to trades. So this is where you're going to be looking at your daily trades. So as trades come in, they're going to be up here. You're going to have your live trades where you can watch what it's doing, going up, going down, and it's pretty fun actually to watch. This will tell you your realized for the day. This is how much is basically in your pocket after the trades are completed. Unrealized would be any trades that are still going. So this will go up and down as those trades go up and down, but once they close and something's locked in, it'll be here. If you have a kill switch set, that's what your daily goal is going to be, and that's going to be a progress bar up to that. So for today, it was set at 127. We made 136, so the automation stopped because we had reached our goal. And then these are the trades that were completed today. Okay, so this one was an entry of 98 cents. We exited at 151, 78, and 24. And you can tell as you're looking through this, the peak price was 64%. We stopped out at 56%, actually got that fill at 54%. So our profit was $106 for this trade. Okay, so you can go through, you can see what contract it was, whether it was a call or a put. We were on trailing mode for these. It's closed. These are just cool to look through if you are doing your own research into the trades and figuring out, maybe you want to tweak the settings a little. Maybe you want to see how trades have been performing. This is all the information from the day that will be helpful for that. For history, this will show you all the different trades that have been taken for every day that you have been part of automation. Okay, so this was a pretty good day. Boom, look at that. So this trade did extremely well. It was up 260%. We made $594 just off of that one trade. So we can look at that. We can look at some other ones throughout the day. So we actually took a lot of trades, and this was the banger. This was the winner at the end of that. Obviously have some losing trades, some losing days, so you can go back through and see which ones you took, how they worked, etc. Cool. So as we go to this leaderboard, this is coming soon. This is going to show basically everybody's profitability since they have joined automation. This won't show your name. It'll show a secret name, but it'll show everybody's profitability, so you can look through here and have a better understanding of the community as a whole, how we're all doing. And then this guy right here, this is the meat and potatoes. This is what you're here for. This is the trading settings. Okay, so this is where you're going to control everything about your automation bot. As the alert comes in, then it goes through all of these settings. Okay, this is completely up to you. You have complete control of your automation settings. When you first sign up, it will be defaulted to our conservative strategy that a lot of the members are on, and it defaults to this so that you are trading with a conservative strategy when you first come in. We want to make sure that your settings are set to something that you can adjust up, but we don't want to set you off aggressive or anything like that. So that's what's going to default to, and you are welcome to change, to leave it, to do whatever you want with your settings. So let's talk about these settings here. Okay, so this is going to be your Tasty Trade account number. This is whether your trading is on or off. Okay, so if you want to turn off your automation, it's that right there. Okay, if you want to have it on, it's here. And if it's on, it's going to go through all your settings. So if there's something in your settings that causes you not to take a trade, it won't take a trade, even though this is on. But this is telling you that your bot is on. Okay, and then if you want to use limit orders, switch this on. If you want to do market orders, switch this off. We have different tickers that we currently trade the options for. So we have QQQ, we have SPY, or you can do both. This will let you select that. Okay. These are the alert strategies that you will be taking for your entry positions. So we have the OG, we have the daily trend, LIM, which stands for less is more, or all strategies. Okay. I would never suggest choosing all strategies. That's going to be, well into like 50 alerts a day. So look into these channels. There's documentation and links to it in the welcome page, where you can look into what these are, what they're, how they're made up, and why they, what signal they're going to be signaling. So most of our members stick with the daily trend, but you're welcome to choose whatever. Risk divisor is basically how much of your account would you like to trade per trade. So this is your account divided by this number. Okay, so that when a trade comes in, if you have, say, $1,000 and you divide it by 10, it's going to take $100 trade on that. Okay, that's the max it'll take, is $100 trade. Or if you have 10,000, it'll take a $1,000 trade, or etc. So this is the max capital per trade. Okay, so say you had a $100,000 account and you had a risk divisor of 10, that would say that each trade you want to trade a max of $10,000. Well, that might be a lot to take on each trade. So you say, hey, no matter how much money I have, I want to have the max capital per trade, this number right here. Okay. And then trades per day, this is how many trades your bot will take up to. So it'll take up to 10, saying if you don't hit your kill switch, then how many trades do you want to take? So just make sure that your trades per day matches, is equal to or lower than your risk divisor. Okay, so if you have a risk divisor of 10, that means you're using 1/10 of your account per trade. You don't want to take more than 10 trades a day, as that is 100% of your account balance. All right. Max contract costs, you can adjust this to whatever. We have members that are at 170. We have members at 250, 225. The more the contract cost, usually the more volatility is in the market. Okay, so like a $250 to $3 contract is going to take those really high volatility contract trades. So you can filter out some of the volatility here. And just a reminder, we trade options. So multiply this by 100. So a max contract cost of $250 is actually going to be $250 per contract. Okay. So just keep this in mind, this in mind, this in mind, and this in mind. They all play together. All right. So if you have a $1,000 account, risk divisor of 10, that means we want to trade up to $100 per contract. So you have $100, but you have this set at $250. It will never take a $250 trade, because your max price that you're willing to trade with is $100. Okay, and the same here. All right, moving on. Trading hours. This is pretty self-explanatory. This is all in New York time zone. The market opens at 9:30 a.m. and closes at 4 p.m. This is telling the bot when to start, and this is telling the bot when to stop. Okay. So profit and loss targets. So this is your initial stop loss. So when an entry trade gets executed, where do you want your stop loss to be placed? Okay, so this is your initial stop loss. You can have it anywhere from -1 up to 99% below that entry price. Okay, so let's say 30%. And we'll go over trailing stops in a minute. So let's just say we don't have trailing stops on. You will then have a profit target. So this is known as an OCO. One cancels another, or one cancels other, basically. So it means that when you enter a trade, you will either you'll take a profit at 50 or you'll take a loss at 30, and just, everything's set there. Okay, so you can adjust both of those. If you turn on trailing, that profit target will disappear. All right, so let's just leave it as a trailing stop loss. So this is saying when we enter that trade, we're going to be at 30% stop loss. Okay. As we go to the kill switch, we kind of already talked about the kill switch, but this is basically the amount of money that you want to make. You want the bot to stop trading at. Okay, so let's go to, you can do either percentage, which is a percent of your account value, or you can do a dollar amount. So if you were to say $200, then your bot will stop trading once your realized profit is $200 or more. Okay, so if you're currently in a trade and it goes above $200, it's not going to take you out of that trade. This only calculates off of closed trades. And if it closes, say you have 3 winning trades and you're up $250, however, you're still in another trade and that trade closes down $75. So now you're at $175 profit. It will then continue to trade because you're still haven't reached this $200 goal as your realized results. Okay. And again, you can go percentage, or we can go dollar amount. And again, this kill switch, you can off or on. All right, so for trailing stops, we have 2 different options for these. Okay, so again, we can, if this is off, you can have your set target. If it's on, then you're not going to have a profit target that's going to take you out of the trade. Instead, you're going to have a trailing stop that will trail the price as it moves upwards and catch it as it moves back. So this is a trailing trigger, okay? And what this does is says, hey, when price moves to 10% profit, I want to start trailing my position by, let's say, 20%. So when you enter a trade, it's going to be at 30% below the entry price. Once that price moves up 10%, your stop loss is going to move to 20% below that price. And then as that price moves up, this is going to follow it. It's going to trail that price as it moves up. If it moves back down, it'll stay where it's at. Okay. If it moves back down to 20% below that price or more, it will stop you out. So it's a trailing stop right at this number. Now, we also have a new feature called multi-tier trailing. So let's turn that on. And what this is going to do is this is going to add additional tiers at which you can trade, additional profit triggers. So what we had said before is, hey, we want it to trade at 10% profit. We want it to trail behind at 20%. But now we can add up to 5 different levels. Okay, so let's do 3. So at 10%, we want our trail to be 20% behind. As that price moves up, we want to start tightening that stop loss trail. Okay, so at 20% profit, we're going to tighten that up to 15% trail. At 30%, we can do a 10% trail. And let's add one more. Let's say at 40%, we're going to be 5% behind that. Okay, so it's basically as price moves up, you can tighten that trail to lock in that profit. One of the things to keep in mind is that even though you're going to lock in guaranteed profit, you're cutting down the ability of that price to bounce around and move a little bit. So, maybe it'll go up to 40% and come back down. Boom, you'll stop out. You'll be at 35%, which is awesome. That's great. Maybe if you had left it at 20, it would have come back down, to 30% and then shot up to 150. So it's a trade-off, right? So you're locking in profit, but you're also giving it a lot less ability to move around. So totally up to your trailing desires and your strategy that you want to trade, and your settings and your comfort level and all of that stuff. Okay. So here you'll just want to make sure that you're signed up and enrolled in automatic updates. That is going to help us a ton, because what we can do is we can update anytime there's a bug or anytime there's a new feature or an update or anything like that. We can update completely on our side without you having to do anything at all. This, as it says, is a danger zone. Don't touch this unless you really have to. This is emergency reset of all the trade tracking data and your settings and everything. This completely resets the bot. So don't push this unless you really have some kind of an emergency or we tell you to do it. But in that case, just leave it as it is, okay? So a friendly reminder that no matter what settings you do, whatever you choose, nothing is going to go into effect until you push save settings, okay? If you don't push save settings, it will all revert back to whatever it was as soon as you leave the page. So if you're messing stuff around and you want to save it, push save settings. Okay. If you're adjusting things and you decide, you know what, I don't want to discard changes, no harm, no foul. You're back to where you started. Cool. Right on. Well, hey, like I said, it's an honor to have you here. Thanks for joining up. There's documentation for all of these features. I know I scrolled through them pretty quick, but if you need extra information, we've got it all documented. And if you need something that isn't there or you need extra explanation, just reach out.